When Tudor unveiled its 2023 watches last spring, much of the attention gravitated towards the new Tudor Black Bay 54, with its surprising 37mm case and faithful design inspiration that felt as if it was pulled directly from the mid-20th century. Though the question of what was the most discussed watch and what was the most important watch by Tudor in the past year are two entirely different points. And to answer that point of the latter, it comes with little needed deliberation: the Tudor Black Bay Burgundy. A watch with some subtle and not so subtle updates that come together to illustrate an important insight into the future for not only the Black Bay line, but Tudor entirely. One of the greatest success stories in the last decade of watchmaking has to be the Black Bay, a family of watches released in 2012 that can be held responsible for the resurgence of Tudor as a brand and being a major contributor to the heritage revival craze. Now, to avoid going through the entire history of the Black Bay collection again, please check out the link in the description down below to our comprehensive written guide to the Black Bay family with hands-on photography of nearly every model, understanding of their history, the different models available to you, and a lot more. The point about its beginnings that is notable, and I do want to mention, is that what led the way as the first Tudor was the Burgundy bezel, a colorway seldom seen and has become a part of the Black Bay's broader identity among the watch collecting public. With this colorway being so ingrained into Tudor's DNA, there might be some questions and confusion regarding how is this watch anywhere near game-changing. Let's first just look at some of these changes compared to the previous Black Bay models and why this one is different. The most obvious visual trait of these watches is going to be that color of that anodized aluminum bezel insert, which comes in a deep shade of burgundy that looks more red in brighter lighting conditions. As far as we can tell, the other red bezel variants within the 41mm Black Bay family have been quietly discontinued, making room for these new updated models, though the other colors of the 41mm remain with their previous understood forms, at least for now. The 41mm Black Bay has been seen for years as a larger watch, wearing more broadly than its listed 41mm diameter thanks to several design elements, including the longer 50mm lug-to-lug, close to 15mm in thickness, and the more slabbed off-sided case architecture that you would hear be described over and over. Worn alongside something like a modern Submariner from Rolex that it also measures in at 41mm in diameter, the former Black Bay simply felt bigger. The easy response for some is there's no problem here. We have the Black Bay 58 and the Black Bay 54. But for those with larger wrists and those that just favor a broader dive watch with more presence, the 41mm traditionally presented the only realistic option despite its thicker case. This is where it gets interesting, as this Burgundy manages to cut over a millimeter of thickness off the previous reference M79230R. with this new Burgundy measuring in at 13.6mm in thickness. Now that's not necessarily slim, and it's still thicker than the original Etta-powered Black Bays with those smiley dials from back in the day, but compared to the previous generation, it is a night and day difference compared to that 14.8mm metric. Another key point here is the lug-to-lug. It's ever so slightly shorter at 49.3mm compared to the older 50mm measurement, aiding in its appearance on the wrist further. Now, according to Tudor, a certain amount of case geometry magic has taken place in achieving the slimmer build, with the dial and hands coming closer to the crystal, and the crystal itself receiving a redesign to keep everything as felt as possible. On top of that, the watch's finishing is elevated compared to the previous Black Bay models. First, the polished bevels on the lugs are now more pronounced. In addition, this version also drops the polarizing color-matching crown tube. The grooves on the bezel are also going to be more visually elevated and easy to grip, with the crown also getting deeper cut ridges to assist in operation. Beyond the changes to the case, the new Burgundy also introduces optionality in the bracelet department, while finally integrating Tudor's class-leading T-Fit micro-adjustment system. Adding to the excitement, we now have a 5-link bracelet that, at the time of the release, Tudor was very adamant about not calling a Jubilee. It comes complete with polished center links and brushed outer links, while adding a T-Fit clasp with a central polish element that matches well, but will show signs of wear over time. Given the slimmer, more flexible, and somewhat lighter construction and additional polishing with the 5-link, this bracelet further complements the redesigned case in feeling slimmer and more elegant on the wrist. If you prefer the old school riveted bracelet look often associated with this collection, you still have that available to you alongside Tudor's new cut to fit rubber. with both clasps now thankfully coming with T-fit as well. These changes to the size are no question game-changing, but when we get back to that point at the beginning about why this is the most important watch, that comes down to the intriguing new development of the caliber on the inside. If you're interested in luxury watchmaking, you've no doubt heard of COSC, the Swiss certifying body for chronometers that test calibers from Rolex and numerous other brands. Any movement that gets that certification has undergone strenuous tests across multiple days and positions to ensure a quoted accuracy range of -4 to +6 seconds a day is maintained. Since Tudor went in-house with its steel Black Bays in 2016, the collection has included COSC certified movements as yet another value add for its excellent collection of MT manufactured calibers. So what's the deal with METAS? Because that is really the question here and why this watch is so notable in terms of where the direction is going. Now, one step further beyond COSC is this term you'll hear called METAS, or the Swiss Federal Institute of Metrology, which in 2015 famously partnered with Omega to create a new standard of certification along the lines of what we've seen for decades from COSC, but it was elevated to include more varied and extreme testing standards. Essentially, METAS certification requires a wide array of different tests along 8 primary areas, including accuracy, temperature, magnetism, and more. Further, to qualify as a master chronometer, these tests are done not merely to the movement, but the watch fully cased up. The end result is a watch that will have a tighter range of acceptable deviation of accuracy to 0 to +5 seconds a day, and an elevated resistance to magnetic fields, with this piece offering up to 15,000 Gauss of magnetic field resistance, just to name 2 of these notable achievements that come from this METAS certification. Intriguingly here, this METAS certification in the case of this Tudor also is taking place within their manufacturer, with random samples also being double-checked in a separate METAS facility. Looking beyond the certification, accuracy, and dependability, this MT5602/U works off the architecture of the other Black Bay models since 2016, providing class-leading specifications and technical upgrades for the price point, including a 70-hour power reserve, with its 4 Hz 28,800 vibration per hour frequency, a silicon balance spring, and bidirectional winding oscillating weight in tungsten, a material around 2.5 times heavier than that of stainless steel, while also allowing hacking and hand winding. Hacking stopping the seconds when you pull the crown to the farthest position. So as mentioned in the beginning of this video, watches that sometimes make the biggest splash upon their release are not always the watches that are the most noteworthy from the standpoint of importance for the future of what the brand might do. Now on the surface, despite increasing the price here for a reasonable amount, few $100s, Tudor has made substantial improvements to the 41mm Black Bay with this release. The case is more wearable, the finishing is enhanced, the clasp showcases its class-leading T-fit system, and we have a new bracelet option to choose from that gives the Black Bay an entirely different look altogether. While these are all important points that will be felt by owners of these watches, the reason for this being a representation of the future comes down to the calibers on the inside. Tudor has made great strides in elevating their technical capabilities internally in the last decade, and it's been a key part of their increasing market share. We've also seen METAS certified watches before from the brand, with the Black Bay Ceramic, for example. But what makes it different this time around is that this is a rebirth of a watch that started it all over a decade ago. When I sat down with Cole Pennington of the brand last year, he mentioned this point when we're talking about this new Burgundy model.
A key point to kind of mention here, this does hint towards the future of what Tudor's trying to accomplish, and we will see the entire range become METAS certified in due time.
When he said this, I don't think it fully registered with myself and many that watched. Given what is typically associated with this certification, it clearly shows Tudor is eager to continue to expand its growing market share, and in the process, deliver on making the next decade of the brand just as momentous as the previous one. But all right, guys, that's all we have for this video looking at the Tudor Black Bay Burgundy. Have you had a chance to check out this watch yet? Do you own this watch? Love to see some personal ownership stories down below in the comments. That's also a great indicator for maybe other people that are looking in the direction of this piece. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Really do appreciate that. Also check out TeddyBaldassarre.com, full authorized dealer of over 30 brands, quick and fast fulfillment, dedicated customer support, and a full factory warranty for all the products that we offer. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.